The Pursuit of the Truth, Episode 1. There are stories about heroes, stories about gods, and stories about monsters, but this is not one of them. This is the story of a man the heavens themselves feared. A man history would remember as a devil. Yet before the world hated him, before kingdoms trembled at his name, before fate itself turned against him, there was only snow, endless snow. The northern plains were a frozen wasteland where life struggled to survive. Storms swallowed entire mountains, and the cold pierced deeper than flesh, it reached the soul. And in the middle of that frozen world stood an ancient city older than memory itself. At the center of the city rose a gigantic black altar that stretched into the heavens like a blade challenging the sky. On this night, tens of thousands gathered beneath it. Men, women, children, all kneeling silently in the snow. Not out of fear, but faith. Because standing atop that altar was the greatest diviner of the great Yu dynasty, a blind old man said to see truths hidden even from heaven itself. Before him rested an eerie glowing spine. In his trembling hands, a stone slab scraped against the ancient bones. Click, click, click. The sound echoed through the blizzard like a warning from another age. Then suddenly, the old man spoke. Is there still hope? His voice carried despair so deep it silenced the storm itself. For years, he had searched for an answer. For years, he had tried to uncover humanity's fate. But tonight, even he sounded afraid. The wind screamed harder. Snow spiraled violently through the sky. And then, the prophecy began. The old man slowly raised his head toward the heavens. Today, the Emperor of Ming returns. Thunder exploded across the plains. The gates of the three lands shall open. The clouds turned blood red. And the Berserker Day shall descend once more. At that moment, every snowflake in the world froze in midair. Silence consumed heaven and earth. No one dared breathe. Then the impossible happened. The snow itself began moving. Billions of snowflakes gathered together high above the city, twisting and spiraling until a colossal dragon emerged from the storm. A dragon made entirely of snow. Its roar shook the earth. Mountains trembled. The sky cracked. Fear spread through every heart below. But then, the white dragon began to bleed. Its body slowly turned crimson red. A blood dragon born beneath a dying sky. And before the terrified crowd could understand what they were witnessing, the dragon shot upward toward the heavens like a falling star reversing its path. It was trying to escape. Trying to break through something hidden beyond the sky itself. Then, the heavens struck back. The dragon slammed into an invisible barrier. A deafening explosion shattered the silence. The sky distorted violently as red lightning spread across the clouds. And for the first time, the people realized the truth. There was something above the heavens. Something that refused to let anyone pass. The blood dragon screamed in agony. Its body began breaking apart. The prophecy was failing. Despair spread through the crowd below. But then, the kneeling worshippers made their choice. One after another, tens of thousands bit through their tongues and spat blood toward the sky. They offered their blood willingly. Their lives, their hope, their faith. Rivers of crimson energy surged upward and wrapped around the dying dragon. For one brief moment, the impossible happened. The dragon rose again. The crowd cried out in joy, believing heaven itself could finally be defeated. But hope can be cruel. The invisible barrier appeared once more. And this time, it destroyed everything. The blood dragon shattered into countless crimson snowflakes that rained across the frozen plains like tears from the heavens themselves. Silence returned. Only one voice remained. A whisper carried through the falling snow. Death, death. The prophecy was not salvation. It was a warning. Atop the altar, the blind old man sat motionless. Older now, weaker, as if the prophecy had drained the life from his body. Tell the king of Yu. I have done all I could. Then slowly, he lifted his empty eyes toward the sky. You cannot see the world I see. You cannot see hope. And somewhere far beyond the northern plains, beneath another sky, a child quietly opened his eyes. A child who would one day shake the heavens. A child who would lose everything. A child history would call the devil. But the world never understood him. Because this was never the story of evil. It was the story of truth. And the terrifying price required to pursue it. The Pursuit of the Truth. Episode 2. Su Ming. Black screen. Heavy breathing. Wind screaming. A body falls through darkness. The boy falling from this mountain. Lightning flashes. A young man swings through a deadly storm. Gigantic black creatures chase him across the cliffs. Would one day terrify the heavens themselves. Quick flashes. Golden liquid glowing in rain. A red-eyed monkey screaming. Black centipede monsters crawling from the mountain. A mysterious black stone. But on this night, he was only a powerless boy trying to survive. Part 1. Massive green mountain ranges stretch endlessly beneath the sky. Clouds drift across towering cliffs. Birds cry through ancient forests. Far beyond the frozen northern plains. Far from the prophecy of blood and death. Life still existed. Waterfalls crashing. Forests moving with the wind. Wild beasts running through valleys. The mountains of dark mountain tribes stretched across the earth like a sleeping dragon. And somewhere within those mountains, a lonely boy dreamed of becoming something greater. But dreams alone could never change fate. Part 2. Su Ming. A teenage boy sits beneath a giant hollow stone near a cliff edge. Medicinal herbs surround him. Soft wind moves through his hair. His name was Su Ming. Close up of his simple beast skin clothes. The white fang necklace around his neck. His calm but distant eyes. He looked ordinary. Too thin to be a warrior. Too quiet to be important. And yet, destiny had already begun watching him. Su Ming reads from an old beast hide scroll. Su Ming, softly reading. Since the beginning of heaven and earth, the Berserker tribe has existed. Su Ming. Those who possess the Berserker mark can borrow the power of the heavens. His voice slowly fades. The excitement in his eyes disappears. Su Ming quietly, but without a Berserker body. None of it matters. Silence. He lowers the scroll. A bitter smile forms. Su Ming. So this is my fate. To gather herbs forever. Emotional retention moment. No power. No destiny. No future. The heavens had already decided. Su Ming would never matter. Part 3. The storm arrives. The sky suddenly darkens. Wind begins moving violently through the trees. Leaves spiral upward unnaturally. Su Ming slowly looks up. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Then, his eyes widen. Su Ming. The elder's prediction. Dark clouds rush across the heavens at impossible speed. It was happening. The dark dragon storm had arrived. Instantly, Su Ming grabs his basket. Stuffing the scroll into his clothes, he sprints toward the cliffs. And suddenly, the quiet boy transforms completely. Su Ming leaps between rocks with shocking agility. He moved like he had grown up with the mountains themselves. Fast, fearless, wild, because hidden deep within the storm was something worth risking death for. Part 4. Dark Dragon Saliva. Rain begins pouring violently. Thunder shakes the mountains. Su Ming climbs higher toward the summit. The storm becomes monstrous. Trees bend beneath hurricane winds. Branches fly through the air. Even wild beasts are thrown from cliffs. The mountain itself seemed alive. And tonight, it was angry. Su Ming reaches a strange black rock covered in holes. Below it hangs a giant fang-shaped stone above the abyss. The atmosphere feels wrong. Dangerous. Ancient. Su Ming removes a small bottle from his basket. He ties himself to a rope near the cliff edge. The golden liquid known as Dark Dragon's saliva appeared only during the fiercest storms. It was incredibly valuable, and unbelievably deadly to obtain. Rainwater flows across the mysterious stone. At first, nothing happens. Then slowly, black liquid begins dripping from the rock. Su Ming stares intensely. The liquid changes color. Black to gold. His eyes light up instantly. Su Ming. Now. Part 5. The swing. Fast percussion begins. Su Ming releases himself from the cliff. His body swings violently across the abyss. Lightning flashes behind him. The rope creaks under pressure. One mistake, and he would die. The golden liquid drips faster. Su Ming stretches the bottle outward. The swing reaches its highest point. He catches the liquid perfectly. Golden drops fill the bottle. Success. But then, screech. Dozens of gigantic black centipede-like creatures crawl from the holes in the stone. Their jaws snap violently. Their black bodies move unnaturally fast. The dark dragons had awakened. And they were hungry. Part 6. The fall. The creatures leap toward Su Ming. But instead of panicking, he lets go of the rope. Free fall. The world becomes slow motion. Rain slashes against his body. Wind screams past his ears. The ground rushes upward. Most people feared death. But Su Ming trusted the mountain. Su Ming, shouting, Xiao Hong. A red blur suddenly swings from below. A small red monkey catches Su Ming midair. The monkey screeches proudly while swinging them toward a lower cliff. They crash hard into rocks. Both tumble across the ground. Then, they burst into laughter. Su Ming, we actually did it. The monkey jumps excitedly. Xiao Hong, troublemaker, thief, professional idiot, and Su Ming's only real friend. The monkey proudly reaches for the bottle. Su Ming, absolutely not. The monkey looks offended. Part 7. The chase. Screech. The cliffs erupt with movement. Hundreds of dark dragons begin racing down the mountain walls. The monkey instantly panics. Su Ming, run. Music intensifies. Su Ming and Xiao Hong sprint through cliffs and forest paths. They leap across gaps using hanging ropes. Dark dragons swarm behind them like living nightmares. The mountains were filled with death. But this wasn't their first escape. The pair move with practiced teamwork. The monkey screams warnings. Su Ming changes direction instantly. At one point, a dark dragon nearly catches Xiao Hong. Su Ming grabs the monkey midair. Su Ming, you owe me for that one. The monkey screeches angrily, but even Su Ming didn't realize that tonight's greatest danger wasn't the monsters. Part 8. The border. Eventually, Su Ming crosses into another part of the mountain. Instantly, the dark dragons stop. They screech furiously from the cliffs but refuse to move further. The creatures never crossed certain parts of the mountain. No one knew why. The monsters retreat slowly into darkness. The storm finally begins weakening. Rain softens. Thunder fades. Su Ming exhales heavily. Xiao Hong collapses dramatically. Su Ming, you're pretending again. The monkey instantly stops acting tired. Part 9. Nightfall. Hours later, night covers the mountains. The storm disappears completely. Far away, small lights glow from the tribe village. Warm, peaceful, safe. The monkey immediately reaches for the bottle again. Su Ming, you already had your share. The monkey points angrily at itself. Su Ming, oh, so now you're starving. The monkey nods dramatically. Su Ming laughs softly. For a moment, everything feels normal, simple, peaceful. But then, the monkey reveals something hidden behind its back. A small black stone. Su Ming frowns. Su Ming, what is that? The monkey proudly puffs its chest. It wants to trade. Su Ming, you risked your life for a rock. The monkey nods seriously. Su Ming sighs. Fine. He gives the monkey another mouthful of dark dragon saliva. Instantly, the monkey becomes blissfully happy. It stumbles drunkenly before disappearing into the forest. Su Ming, idiot, but he's smiling. Final mystery. Alone now, Su Ming looks down at the black stone resting in his palm. The wind suddenly grows colder. Silence fills the forest. And for one brief second, the stone feels warm. Su Ming freezes. What he held in his hand was not ordinary. Tiny faint symbols briefly glow across the surface, then vanish instantly. Su Ming stares in confusion. He didn't know it yet. But this tiny black stone would one day change everything. Camera slowly rises toward the night sky. The path toward becoming the devil had already begun. To be continued. The Pursuit of the Truth. Episode 3. The Berserker's Awakening. What if your entire life was decided the moment you were born? No matter how hard you try. No matter how far you run. The world simply tells you one thing. You are not chosen. But in this world, being not chosen is worse than death. Because here, only berserkers rule heaven and earth. And Su Ming was about to face the moment that would decide everything. The world beyond death and snow. Far away from the frozen northern lands, there exists a completely different world. Green mountains stretch endlessly like a sleeping dragon. Rivers flow. Beasts roam. Life thrives everywhere. But behind this beauty lies a brutal truth. In this world, strength is everything. Not intelligence. Not kindness. Not effort. Only power decides survival. And that power comes from one source. The Berserker Path. Su Ming's reality. In one corner of these vast mountains lived a boy named Su Ming. At first glance, he looked ordinary. Thin body. Simple clothes made of beast skin. A white fang hanging around his neck. Nothing special. But Su Ming was different in one way. He refused to accept his fate. While others believed their lives were decided by the gods of berserkers, Su Ming still dreamed. He read ancient beast scrolls describing legendary warriors. Men who could move mountains. Warriors who could fly through storms. Berserkers who could shake the heavens. But every time he closed that scroll, reality hit him harder. He had failed the Berserker Awakening once. And in this world, failure means everything. The mysterious stone. One night, after surviving a dangerous storm in the mountains, Su Ming brought back something strange. A small black stone. It looked completely normal. But there was one difference. It was warm. Not heat like fire. But something alive. Comforting. Almost like it was breathing. Su Ming assumed it was a fire-type relic. Something useful for survival. So he casually placed it near his chest. And continued his life. Not knowing that the stone had already chosen him. The tribe of Dark Mountain. Su Ming returned to his tribe. A small settlement surrounded by wooden walls. Life there was simple. Hunters, warriors, healers, children called Le Su, failed berserker candidates. Su Ming was one of them. A failed one. People respected him for his skills, but never saw him as someone important. Because in this world, if you cannot awaken as a berserker, you are already forgotten. The elder. At the center of the tribe stood one man. The elder. A calm but terrifyingly powerful figure. Even the strongest warriors respected him. He was the closest thing the tribe had to hope. But even he had limitations. He could not break through the highest level of power. And because of that, the tribe remained weak, divided, surrounded by stronger forces. The real rule of this world. The elder explained something important. Every human has two chances in life. 1. At age 7, first awakening. 2. At age 16, final awakening. If both fail, your destiny is sealed forever. No exceptions. No second chances. Su Ming had already failed once. And now, his final test was coming in just 3 days. Su Ming's internal war. That night, Su Ming sat alone. He thought about everything. The warriors he could never become. The strength he could never have. The future that was already closing. But deep inside him, something refused to accept defeat. Not anger. Not fear. Something sharper. Determination. Because Su Ming was not afraid of failure. He was afraid of being nothing. The tribe prepares. The tribe was preparing for the awakening ceremony. Festivals. Fire rituals. Sacred statues. The god of berserkers statue was everything. It was believed that, if the statue responds right pointing arrow you gain power. If it does not right pointing arrow your fate is over. No training could change it. No effort could fix it. Only destiny. The elder's warning. The elder called Su Ming. He looked at him carefully. Not as a leader, but like a father. He warned him. Do not leave the tribe. Rest. Prepare for the awakening. But beneath his words, was concern. Because even the elder knew. Su Ming had no berserker body. And without it, he should not survive this world. The hidden change. But something strange was already happening. The black stone Su Ming carried was reacting, unseen, unnoticed. A faint warmth spread through his body whenever he touched it. Almost like it was slowly rewriting him. But Su Ming did not understand it yet. Or maybe, the world itself was hiding the truth from him. The final night before destiny. 3 days passed. Fast. Too fast. The tribe grew silent. Even laughter felt distant. Everyone knew. Tomorrow would decide everything. Su Ming stood alone at night. Looking at the sky. For the first time, he felt fear. Not of death, but of being rejected again. Su Ming's final thought. He clenched his hand. And whispered, if I fail again, then what am I? Silence. Wind passed through the mountains. And somewhere deep inside his chest, the stone pulsed softly, as if responding. In this world, berserkers are everything. But fate is not always fair. Sometimes, it chooses the ones who were never chosen. And sometimes, it creates something no one expects. A path not written in any scroll. A power not recorded in history. A truth hidden even from the gods. And Su Ming was standing right at the edge of that unknown. Tomorrow, the awakening begins. The statue will judge him. The tribe will watch him. And the world will decide whether Su Ming is worthy of becoming a berserker, or whether he will remain forgotten forever. But deep in the darkness, the stone in his chest glows faintly. And for the first time, it feels like something is waking up. To be continued. Episode 4, The Piercing Light. What if everything you believed about your destiny was a lie? In a world where gods decide your fate, one boy stood at the edge of rejection. Again. And this time, there would be no third chance. Because in the Dark Mountain tribe, you are either chosen by the god of berserkers, or erased from history forever. And Su Ming was about to step into that judgment alone. Late at night, silence covered the Dark Mountain tribe like a blanket. Only the wind moved. But Su Ming could not sleep. He lay on his bed staring at the ceiling, while his elder's words kept echoing in his mind. 3 days. Final awakening. If you fail again. The memory of his first failure returned. Not as a thought, but as a wound reopening inside his chest. Unable to stay still, Su Ming quietly pushed open his wooden door. Cold air rushed in. The night greeted him like an endless void. Outside, the tribe was asleep. Only the bonfire at the center still burned weakly, sending sparks into the sky. The wooden walls of the tribe creaked softly in the wind, like an old beast breathing. Su Ming looked up, and froze. The sky of destiny. Above him, the night sky stretched endlessly. Stars scattered like broken glass across the universe. The river of stars seemed infinite. Beautiful, but distant. Su Ming's eyes slowly dimmed. Because for him, that sky was not freedom. It was a reminder of everything he could never reach. Internal conflict. Su Ming sat down near his house, leaning against the wooden wall. He whispered to himself, "The tribe is kind to me. But I still don't belong." A pause. He clenched his fist. "Without a berserker body, I'll never leave this place. I'll never see the world beyond these mountains." His gaze lowered, not with anger, but resignation. Legends he can never touch. He remembered the beast scrolls. Stories of ancient warriors. Berserkers who could split mountains, fly through storms, command fire, blood, and sky. He murmured softly, "The world of berserkers is real, but not for me." A cold wind passed, and in that moment, something inside him began to crack. The silent watcher, unknown to him, the black stone hanging on his chest, was glowing faintly again, not brightly, not loudly, just alive, as if listening, as if waiting. But Su Ming did not notice. The day of awakening arrives. Morning broke. The entire tribe changed. Energy filled the air. Drums echoed. People gathered. Today was the most important day of their lives. The Berserker Awakening Ceremony. A ritual that decides everything. The tribal assembly. Dozens of teenagers stood in the square. About 30 Lasso candidates. Strong bodies. Sharp eyes. Warrior bloodlines. And among them, Su Ming looked completely different. Slim. Calm. Almost out of place. But the tribe had already accepted him. Not as a chosen one, but as someone who would never be chosen. Friendship in a brutal world. A voice called out, "Su Ming." A young man approached. Lei Chen. Large build. Warm smile. One of the few who treated Su Ming normally. They spoke casually, laughing, sharing small moments before fate decided their future. Lei Chen mentioned hunting a dangerous beast, just to bring materials for Su Ming's medicine. Su Ming smiled faintly, but inside, he felt something heavier than gratitude. The sacrifice begins. Suddenly, silence fell. The elder arrived. The atmosphere changed instantly. Heavy, serious, absolute authority. Then came the order. Offer the sacrifice. Massive beasts were brought forward. 49 creatures. Struggling, roaring, alive. The blood ritual. One by one, the beasts were executed. Stone blades cut through flesh. Blood erupted into the air. The smell of iron filled the square. Some of the young candidates turned pale. Others remained expressionless. But Su Ming watched quietly, enduring it. And beside him, Lei Chen's eyes were different. Not fear, not shock, but excitement. Something dangerous flickered in his gaze. The elder's truth. The elder spoke calmly. "In my time, we killed enemies for awakening. Blood of beasts is mercy compared to war." A heavy silence followed. Then he added, "But you are fortunate, and unfortunate. Fortunate, because there is no war. Unfortunate, because you will never understand true berserker blood." The dark python awakens. Suddenly, the elder's aura exploded. Wind surged. The ground trembled. Then it appeared. A mark on his face. A living illusion. A dark python. Massive. Ancient. Coiled around his presence like a god. Everyone stepped back in fear. Even the strongest warriors trembled. Su Ming's eyes widened. For the first time, he saw real power. The god of berserkers. The ritual reached its peak. Beasts dissolved into blood mist. The sky darkened. Energy gathered. And then, it formed. A statue. Half human, half beast. Holding a spear in one hand. And a dragon in the other. Its gaze was madness itself. The god of berserkers had arrived. The test of destiny. One by one, the Lasso stepped forward. They entered the statue. And returned. Some failed. One succeeded. A girl named Wula caused the statue to glow 9 times. She was chosen. The tribe erupted in celebration. But Su Ming felt nothing except pressure. Final moment of choice. Now it was his turn. He stepped forward. The entire tribe watched. Some hopeful, some indifferent, some already decided. He closed his eyes and entered the statue. Darkness swallowed him. The piercing light. Inside the void, Su Ming stood alone. The statue floated before him. He bowed. Silence. Nothing responded. Just like before. His heart sank. This time too, I failed. He turned to leave. Then, he froze. Something was wrong. Behind him, a light appeared. Not from the statue. From his chest. The black stone was shining. A piercing light cut through the darkness. And for the first time, the god of berserkers reacted. A destiny long rejected was finally beginning to awaken. Episode 5 The Forbidden Response. The stone that made a god tremble. Greater than, a forgotten boy entered a sacred ritual. But seconds later, the sky itself began to break. Greater than, the gods trembled. Ancient statues shook in fear. And a mysterious stone hidden around Su Ming's neck awakened. Greater than, tonight, we witness the moment destiny changed forever. Part 1 The Awakening That Shook the Sky. Dark mountain tribe stood frozen beneath the heavens. Thousands watched in silence as the giant statue of the god of berserkers suddenly began to tremble violently. Not because of worship, not because of power, but because of fear. And then, the sky exploded into chaos. Black clouds spiraled across the heavens like an enormous cosmic vortex. Thunder roared across the mountains. Lightning twisted through the storm like giant serpents awakening from an ancient sleep. The entire world felt wrong. The tribe members immediately dropped to their knees. Some cried. Some prayed. Others believed the ancient berserker ancestors had returned from the heavens. But the elder knew something was different. His face turned pale as he stared into the storm. Because even he had never seen anything like this before. Part 2 The Secret Inside the Statue. Inside the statue, Su Ming stood completely alone. The sacred space around him glowed with an eerie light pouring from the mysterious black stone hanging from his neck. And then, something impossible happened. The gigantic god of berserkers statue began shaking. Not with rage, with terror. The ancient godlike figure holding a dragon and spear trembled as if it could not endure the presence of Su Ming's stone. And then, crack, a sound echoed through the darkness. Su Ming's heart nearly stopped. The statue feared him, or more specifically, it feared the thing hidden around his neck. At that exact moment, a violent force exploded inside Su Ming's mind. And suddenly, he was no longer inside the statue. Part 3 The Vision of the Ancient World. Su Ming opened his eyes and found himself floating above a massive ancient world. A world older than history itself. Below him were endless crowds of people stretching beyond the horizon. Millions, all kneeling, all worshipping the heavens. And surrounding them were hundreds of gigantic berserker statues. Living statues. Breathing statues. Each one radiated ancient power capable of destroying mountains. But the most terrifying part was that every single one of them was kneeling. Not before a king, not before an army, but before two figures standing at the highest point in the sky. And then Su Ming saw him. A man with flowing purple hair. A being so powerful he looked beyond human comprehension. The purple-haired man casually waved his hand. And the entire sky transformed. Day became night instantly. Stars descended from heaven. Galaxies twisted into a river of cosmic light surrounding him like divine weapons. Then with a single point of his finger, the stars themselves launched forward. It looked like the universe was collapsing. Like heaven itself had become his servant. Su Ming couldn't breathe. Because this wasn't magic. This was true power. The kind of power he had dreamed about his entire life. And then, the purple-haired man suddenly looked directly at him. Straight into his soul. Part 4 The Moment Everything Changed. The instant their eyes met, Su Ming felt his mind explode. A terrifying force slammed into him and threw him out of the vision. He awoke inside the statue again. Drenched in sweat, his body trembled violently. Was it real? A memory? A dream? Or something hidden inside the stone? Su Ming looked down at the black rock hanging around his neck. It looked ordinary, silent, harmless. But deep down, he knew the truth. This stone was not normal. Not even close. And then, crack, another sound echoed through the darkness. Su Ming slowly lifted his head and saw a fracture spreading across the face of the god of berserkers statue. The statue was breaking because it could not endure Su Ming's worship. That single moment changed everything. Because Su Ming finally realized the truth. This mysterious stone was greater than the gods worshipped by his tribe. Part 5 The Power He Was Never Supposed to Have. Then the whispers began. Ancient voices echoed through Su Ming's mind. Not random sounds. Not meaningless noise. But sacred berserker arts. The forbidden methods used to cultivate power. The knowledge he was never supposed to receive. Because Su Ming had no berserker body. He had been rejected. Condemned to remain weak forever. And yet, the statue still gave him the inheritance. Not willingly, but forcefully. The stone had overridden destiny itself. Su Ming stood frozen. For the first time in his life, he had finally touched the world of berserkers. Part 6 The world returns to normal, but nothing is normal anymore. Outside the statue, the storm slowly disappeared. The sky returned to normal. The tribe relaxed. Most people assumed the strange event was a blessing from the ancestors. Nobody realized the truth. Nobody knew the heavens had reacted to Su Ming. Nobody knew the sacred statue had cracked. And nobody knew that a powerless boy had just stolen power from the gods themselves. Su Ming quietly returned home. But inside, his heart was burning. Fear, excitement, confusion, hope, all crashing together at once. He locked the door, sat down alone, and stared at the black stone in his hand. Greater than, what are you? The stone remained silent, but Su Ming now understood one terrifying fact. This tiny black rock contained secrets older than the berserker tribes themselves. Secrets powerful enough to make gods tremble. And somewhere in the darkness, the truth had finally begun awakening. As Su Ming slowly drifted to sleep, the stone began glowing once more. Very faintly, very quietly, like something ancient, was watching him awaken. Greater than, the boy rejected by destiny, has now touched forbidden power. Greater than, but what exactly is the black stone? Greater than, and why did the god of berserkers fear it? Please subscribe for more update.